Okay, so today our review lesson is going to be about adding fractions. So in your notebook, what I'd like you to do is go ahead and write adding fractions. Alright, and so that I know that you're listening to this video, I want you to write a little smiley face right here. Okay, so what I want to do is 3 examples for you, or with you, and so I expect you to copy these down with me, and then you're going to have a quick 10-question practice. So the expectation is that you're going to do 3 examples with Mrs. Barlow on the video, then you'll check in with your math teacher, me or Mrs. Bain, and then we will give you the heads up on what will come next. Okay? Alright, so the first question that we have is 1/3 plus 5/6. And so remember, one of the important things we have to do when we're adding fractions is we have to have common denominators. That's very important. You don't have to write this long word out, but I just want to make sure that when I go back and I'm pointing at it, you understand that denominators are the bottom number. So right now, when I look at this example, I see that I have a denominator of 3 and I have a denominator of 6. So one way to get common denominators is to use an EFT. Now the EFT is like a 4th grade way or a 5th grade way. So I can make an EFT for 1/3 and I can make an EFT for 5/6. And so whenever I make these EFTs, I always want to start with the lower denominator number, and I want to skip count by that. So we have 3, 6, 9, 12, and then we have the number 1, 2, 3, 4. And right there I'm going to pause because I noticed that I have 5/6, but I also have 2/6. So I'm going to go ahead and box that in. And the most important thing you need to do right now is rewrite the fractions right underneath where they belong. So an equivalent to 1/3 is 2/6. And then we're just going to have 5/6 slide on down, just like that. Now we're going to put the 2 fractions together. Remember, when we're adding fractions, we do not add denominators, we only add the numerator. So that's 2 plus 5, which will give me 7/6. And remember, yesterday's lesson was all about renaming and simplifying. So when I get the number 7/6, that is an improper fraction. So I have to think about 7 divided by 6. And of course, that's one whole group with 1/6 left over. And I'm going to box in my answer all nice and neat. Okay? All right. So that's example number 1. Let's draw a little squiggly line. And let's add these fractions. The next one that I want you to put in your notes is 3/12 plus 3/4. This time, instead of making an EFT, what I'm going to show you is our friendly number 1, in case you have forgotten. So not only can we find common denominators by making an EFT, we can use our wonderful 1. Boys and girls, what I want you to do is I want you to do what is comfortable to you. If you prefer to do wonderful 1, that is perfect. But if you are not there yet, then you need to just stick with what you know, which is an EFT. Okay? All right. So when I'm looking at 3/12 plus 3/4, I have to think to myself, can I get the number 4 to the number 12? That's really what I want to be thinking. And to make a friendly number 1, I have to think about, well, how many groups of 4 would get me to 12? That's right. 3. And whatever number I multiply by on the bottom is the same number I have to multiply by on the top. Remember, renaming happens with the denominator and the numerator. So now I'm going to write a new fraction right underneath. I'm going to write 12 because 3 times 4 is 12 and 3 times 3 is 9. And then I'm just going to have 3 12ths slide on down. And now I'm going to add the numerator in the numerator. That gives me 12. And the denominator does not change, so that gives me 12. Well, looky there. The same numerator and denominator. What does that equal? That equals our number 1. So that's 1 whole as our answer. Let's do one more example. One more example. This time we're going to try 2 6 plus 5 8. Alrighty. So I noticed right away I do not have common denominators. I have 6 and I have 8, and I can't count by 6s and get to 8, and I can't, and 8 is much bigger than 6. So this is where I need to think about a common number that they share. A common number that both 6 and 8 share. Well, it wouldn't be 12 because we can't count by 8s and get to 12. Can't be 16 because we can't count by 6s and get to 16. How about 24? That's right. Both numbers can share the number 24. So I have to think to myself, how many groups of 8 will get me to 24? That's right, 3 groups. So if I multiply the denominator by 3, I'm going to multiply the numerator by 3. And that gives me 15 24ths. I'm going to go over here to 2 6. How many groups of 6 will get me to 24? 4. If I multiply the denominator by 4, I must multiply the numerator by 4. That gives me a new fraction name of 8 24ths. Now that I have common denominators, I'm going to add the 2 together. So 8 plus 15 is 23. And our denominator stays the same. And looky there. We have consecutive numbers, so we know that this answer cannot be simplified anymore. That is our final answer. I hope this video was helpful. Now what I want you to do, at the bottom of your notes, I want you to draw 3 stars. 3 stars. I want you to go check in with your math teacher, and then she will give you directions on your next